Okay, so I am just turned 69, and I have been a business person my entire life. As a result, the term chained to the desk seems to apply. I started in my business life at, we'll call it about 25, so better part of 45 years. Way too much sitting back in the day when nobody would say things like, gee, you need to get up and walk around a little bit. You've been sitting all day. So I did not do that. Fast forward probably into my late 50s, and I discovered that I'm beginning to have sciatica pain and other issues that just didn't feel very comfortable, couldn't get, comfortable seating, not just airplanes, but anywhere. After adjusting a lot of chairs and what have you, I thought, I better have somebody take a look at what's going on with my whole spinal system. So I had a whole study done. And it was 3 pages of ugliness that basically said I should have two, according to the orthopedist, the surgeon, I should have two 7-hour surgeries to correct everything that was wrong. Really ugly. So that was about 2 years ago, and I have danced around it. And then within this year, thought, well, the surgery is always an option, but a last resort. What else can I possibly do that might exacerbate that? I had been taking Gabapentin for a while, prescribed by my orthopedist, and it was doing the job, but not something I wanted to live on long term.
And what is that? Can you tell us?
Gabapentin is a pain blocker.
Okay.
Used with humans and animals, funny enough, and very effective. Take the pill every day, and pretty much it tells you you don't have the sciatica pain that's happening. For the most part, it blocked out most of it. But whether or not it's addictive was less important to me than the idea that I just didn't want to live on meds, especially not being a young man. So then I got some advice to get a steroid shot, a corticosteroid in my lower back, an epidural. And I did that in a series of every 3 months for 3 times, so 9 months worth. And then I met you, and I told you about that, and your response was, how about if we try to work around that? How about if we try to avoid that by doing things that will strengthen your core and correspondingly strengthen your back along the way? And funny anecdote, when you and I met, at some point I needed to get up from the table to go do something. And as I got up and then I walked back, the look on your face was very puzzling. And I said, what's the matter? And you said, that looked very uncomfortable and painful just to see you get up and walk. We're going to fix all that.
Yep.
And that was super motivating for me because I, like all of us, live with ourselves every day. So I didn't know, that I was walking strangely or that it looked like I was grimacing, just getting in and out of a chair. So that brought us to about 5 months ago, give or take, when I walked into work with you, not knowing, what this is going to be about, having worked with trainers before, worked both in gyms and at home. And immediately the difference was the word holistic came to mind. You spent a great deal of time. I should add, you requested and received a copy of the orthopedic report, so you knew what was going on with my back. You'd already created a plan for me that made sure that it not only capitalized on where we could get stronger, but that it avoided any of my biggest fear, which was, would I get hurt?
Right.
And one of the main reasons why I hadn't done more on my own, probably aside from laziness, was my fear that I would hurt myself, that I wouldn't know my limitations as to what I could do and how I could do it, not to mention not knowing proper form.
Yeah, so before you started working out with me and here at Power Performance Lab, how were you feeling about your body and your physical capabilities? What was your fitness and health situation like? You did mention a little bit, but can you make that a little bit now?
Explain a bit more.
Explain, yeah.
Even though I look more fit than I am, even though I've been told I don't look 69 years old, whatever that means anymore in this generation, I knew what was happening with my own body, my inability to bend down without lower back pain, pull clothes out of a dryer, silly things around the house, getting in and out of my wife's car, which is very low slung, different things. I would pay for it. Getting up from a chair after sitting for 3 hours worth of meetings and feeling so stiff all the time. not being able to get on my knees well to do something without fearing that either I couldn't get back up or it was going to be an ugly sight to get back up. I would shy away from certain movements. In
Yep.
particular, I would never squat. I would always think about even how I rolled over in bed and ended up rolling over like a pregnant woman. I know plenty about this, having a lot of children, how they would move their body as opposed to somebody whose core was strong and how they would kind of flip over. And for those of you that ever watch this that are older, you know that we wake up a lot during the night. So there's a lot of flipping over going on. So just things that weren't silly, that were somewhere between embarrassing and frustrating, that I was living with every day. My core had pushed out my lower stomach to a point where I was beginning to get a physique that I had always sadly made fun of, the old guy with the protruding stomach with no rear end and the belt lower and lower every year. And that wasn't acceptable to me. I don't have a flat stomach today, but we've been working very hard on what the cause of that was along the way. And then just beginning to get that excess body fat, just, adding to everything else that it was not feeling well. Clothes weren't fitting well. My energy level wasn't great. Stamina wasn't great. I'd get that mid-afternoon. Gee, I could take a nap if I had time kind of behavior going on as well. So it all added up to, me deciding, am I caving in to getting older, or am I going to do something about it so that the
Right.
next decade, namely my 70s, is not fraught with continuous pain and the words, you can't do that or you shouldn't do that.
Right. Right.
So not
Good.
pretty. I
Good. Well,
brought
that's
you a lot to work with.
yeah. And so, but that leads to my next question is, uh, what did you learn, or what breakthrough did you have working with me that was different from other approaches that you tried? How would
Absolutely.
that describe?
In a human sense, and I have to put this in, I learned to have hope, to not just guess and wonder. I learned that I had an ally, somebody who would believe in me and walk me through a lot of these exercises that I had done before improperly, and then bring me to new routines and programs designed to work specifically on the areas where I was very weak. I had accountability in a way that was necessary for me that we normally don't have as humans. And I also don't mind saying I made a friend. And if
Likewise.
you put that all together, it's very motivating then to get in the car and drive somewhere when you're in the middle of a busy day, or the weather isn't good, or your
Yep.
body didn't sleep well, and get yourself motivated and amped up to get out of the car and go do an hour's worth of what I jokingly call abuse, for the benefit of your body. So, through that, I learned that my core was really my culprit. Always thinking my lower back was what was happening, and it's not good. But the core was making everything considerably worse.
Right.
So you started me on a program with that and explained to me very well, we're not going to be working upper body right away.
Yep.
We're not looking for, muscle growth right away. And we're not even thinking about weight loss. We're thinking about strengthening the center of your body,
Yes.
for your stability, for your flexibility, all of which will pay off later as we work the other areas. That was a big surprise to me. I didn't have any anticipation, but nobody had ever approached it that way. That was very unique. The fact that you were constantly and still are constantly watching and recording everything. I mean, not just how many reps, but my form, how long it took me to get to that form during the exercise itself. How am I reacting to that? Did I have a more
Yeah,
visceral?
every day is different, right? Sometimes.
Right. Is this easier for me to do than it was a week ago?
Yeah.
It's,
Yep.
it wasn't just about, oh, how many reps can we do? How much weight did we put on it? And how much moaning did he do? It was about, the whole package. And I always felt you learning and recording still feel that way. And then applying that then to the next phase of the program, because since then we have moved into more strength training in upper body and certainly in legs as well, and things that we didn't start with, all the while always focusing on core.
Yep.
Always. And now you have me very conscious of what I do when I'm not around you, when I
Yep.
lift something, when I move, anything that I can do to strengthen the core, to have better posture. Maybe my posture's good now. Maybe I need to do this. I don't know. So I learned a lot. And for a guy who's a student and a guy who's a teacher, I love learning. And most of the time, I'm unsurprised by how little learning comes. But you've been teaching me all along, both in an emotional sense and in a physical sense, what this really is about. It's not just about, I have a trainer, 24-hour fitness in a gym. I have a partner in a project that I should have attacked years ago that we're doing our best with what we have to work with so that my next couple of decades are as good as they can be and I can be as healthy as possible.
Great. I love that answer.
That's the truth. The other part that we didn't discuss that occurred was you coaching me on the nutrition piece. Am I eating enough protein? Getting enough of that? What am I eating? Short of you coming into my house and raiding my kitchen, which you were willing to do, but I didn't extend that invite, or making a meal plan for me, which I didn't take you up on that either. You've helped me a lot to understand, what I need to eat, how much protein I need to consume. Do I need supplementation? And now we're talking about things that nobody's ever talked to me about, like peptides and testosterone, which is another whole discussion. So exciting stuff, because I'm open to whatever it takes to get healthy.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you for that answer. That was very thoughtful of you to mention all these things. I appreciate it. And I also value you as a friend and a great student. You apply everything I teach you, and you're a fast learner, so that helps too. So
I wish I was a faster learner.
And how many days a week on average are you coming to, just when it comes to training?
I would say 3. I don't always make 3. That's our schedule. The good news is you're always there for me. It's usually me that messes that up. And you're always very flexible, which is unusual because you're as busy as I am. And I have to be flexible with my clients like you are with me.
Can you tell that difference between 2 times and 3 times a week?
Absolutely. We had this 2-week period of time where we got 3 in back to back. I don't know what serendipity occurred. And I said to myself when I was leaving here to go to you for the 3rd session, I'm getting 50% more this week. And after that 2-week period, it was almost as much about how I felt when I didn't do a 3rd time, the 3rd week, right? When we only did 2, or when you had to go away a little bit, or when I went away a little bit. My body begins to tighten up, not to the degree that before I met you, but just not how I feel like this morning. We worked out yesterday.
Yeah.
With things just being, I guess, what most people feel like, things are moving the way they're supposed to. And I don't get out of bed feeling like I've got these, these binds around me that I have to loosen up all the time. Although you've been on me and continue to remind me that I need to roll out and stretch every day, which is another gift. And I hear your voice even when I don't want to do it.
Yep. Great. Well, you did mention a lot of results that you're seeing so far. Can you make perhaps a one specific improvement since you started working with me? What would that be? What was the most important thing that you would see right now?
2 things come to mind, but if I have to choose one, I'm sitting here today pain-free. I haven't been pain-free probably since my mid-50s, let's say late 50s even. That's 10 years. 10 years of, if anybody's ever had sciatica on both sides, whereby it wakes you up at night. Standing, you can feel it. Sitting, you feel it in a different way. It's the most unusual pain that irradiates. It's not a sharp pain. But it is so disruptive because you're constantly, I'm sitting here talking to you and I haven't shifted positions once. I couldn't even sit in it without uncrossing and crossing my legs and moving around, trying to get comfortable, even on a comfortable chair or couch, even on my own furniture. So I would say 95% pain-free all the time.
And are you now off pain medications?
Yes.
For pain management?
Before I met you, the Gabapentin had gone away and I had gone into having the shots. And I am now 5 months of having had them.
And you would get them every 3 months, correct?
Every 3 months, I would have an epidural on both sides of my lower spine.
Okay.
Yeah, super fun. I don't advise that for anyone.
Yeah.
with no guarantees. There were sometimes it would be a little better for the month, and sometimes it would be close to how I feel now. Other times it didn't seem to take, for lack of a better word. That's gone. In fact, I got a call from their office the other day that they moved and wanted to know if I was following them. And I said, guys, I haven't seen you in 5 months. So move as much as you want to along the way. I mean, that's a real blessing. You know, I didn't want that stuff in my body. I don't take any other meds, even at my age. And I really didn't want anything in there that I didn't have to. I'm not a, big medicine guy. And all of our work together eliminated that. So,
And so how would you describe that process of, because you obviously came with a very specific needs when it comes to like back health and back issues. Could you maybe tell us a little, just like briefly, what the process looks like when you do your workout session? Do you just lift weights or you do something else?
well, we sit around, drink a lot of beer, and eat chicken for like
After.
50 minutes, and then for 10 minutes we pretend like you work me out. I have a little bit of self-direction when I come in with some foam rolling, with some various exercises that you've designed that I can do on my own, that I do at the house here with bands, things that anybody that's watching this, can do for themselves as well at home. Those are self-directed only because you taught me how to do them and what the proper form and what have you is for that. And after about 8-10 minutes of that, then you and I begin a series of different exercises that always seem to take us back to where we started, which are some of the main core exercises that we do. Things that I mentioned earlier that I would never do, like squats. You loved to have people do squats, especially, guys like. So we do 3 or 4 sets of those each time. And this is something I just have to say. It doesn't matter what exercise we've ever done. You check in with me after. Are you in any pain? Did anything hurt? Is there anything at all that you feel that we shouldn't have done or shouldn't be doing with this? And I think only once I said to you, I'm not sure if this is the right motion. And you quickly recalibrated and just came up with a similar exercise that didn't put me, I think it was planks. And then we decided that's probably not a good thing for my lower back, and you put me into something else. So I always feel like you've got your for older people watching this, your Felix the Cat bag of tricks, where you can pull out the next exercise if this one didn't work, which is great because we don't waste any time. So you and I spend a decent amount of time in the middle of this with the exercises that you have. I've told my wife recently, she's like, you've been doing this for a while, and I said, what did she ask? Something about, is there any boredom or anything setting in? And I said, no, it's a continuous set of very different exercises. And then he introduces pieces of the machinery and exercises that I didn't even know were in there. He's kind of like, oh, when's that machine been here? And you're like, it's been here, you just haven't used it yet. It's like lately we're doing this giant squat machine where I have this big band around me like a
Oh, you're referring to a belt squat. One of my favorite. Yeah.
Yes, the belt squat, one of your favorites, because I'm the one doing it, but that's okay. You can just laugh at me. And then if
So
I
when
can,
you do the belt squat, what do you feel that is helping you when it comes to your spine?
well, it's all core. So I've got a tremendous amount of support. This is a machine that I never would have even pretended to play to get in before I met you. It looks ominous and it feels like it's just going to rip your back in half. And then when you do it, because the proper support is there and you've taught me the proper form, all I feel is my core is fully engaged, and I'm tightening it, and I can feel it in my obliques with that, which is nice because that's the beginning of me losing the wonderful pooch that's in the front. For anybody who hasn't done this, you are strapped into this belt. You've got the weight bar and then some plates on it, and you're basically trying to sit down as best you can on your back heels, as far down as you can go. So what I get from Braun out of that is, further down, further back on your heels, no, not on your tiptoes, because I'm trying to cheat, obviously, and in my mind, I'm thinking, probably answering your question, this is just going to trash my back. In your mind, you're thinking, this is going to strengthen his back. He just doesn't trust it yet. But now we've been it a while, and I do. So it's really interesting dichotomy because I have 10 plus years of conditioning about what my body can't do. And you have 5 months with me telling me what my body should be able to do, and I'll show you how. And that's what's working. So overall, I'm healing from the middle outward.
Great. Love it. So my next question would be, how has getting stronger and pain-free impacted other areas of your life beyond just the physical improvement?
Well, the emotional
Or should
piece,
I ask your wife?
yes, yes, sure should have some input.
Yeah.
The emotional piece is not a small piece for me because this happens, I imagine, with anyone who's getting older, where you begin to start every sentence with what we used to be able to do, and then you have the other side of those thoughts, which is what you probably won't ever be able to do again. And although I'm not a feel sorry for me type guy, I was beginning to think a little bit about, is travel going to get harder? Is my endurance going to be shorter? And I like to travel. Am I going to not be able to take meetings? Am I going to have to get a stand-up desk and do that, or pay some phone calls? All this emotionally was difficult for me because it literally would change then the lifestyle that I have created, especially the travel side, as well as some of my business operational capabilities, because I mostly do calls like this with my clients. So what this did was give me a new lease emotionally on the idea that I can still do what I did when I was in my 50s. I don't have to sit here in pain and pretend like I'm not on a camera. And that is just liberating. It's just a freedom that I didn't know that I would be able to have unless I was, dealing with, external things like getting shots and what have you.
Right. Right.
Nothing to look forward to. So I guess, without getting too emotional, it feels like we're never going to stop the aging process, but we sure thwarted one of the big causes of why I felt older than I was.
Right.
So emotionally, that's a very big thing. Yeah, you're a young man, but you'll get there one day and you'll be like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah. I know that.
my body's not going to
I
betray.
feel certain things already, so but I'm working on preventing them long term.
Right. Well, had I done what we're doing now when I
Yeah.
was your
Yeah.
age, I wouldn't be showing you that ugly report. It would be a
Yeah.
nice, much better spine.
Okay, great. So for our future potential clients, who are considering working with me or working at Power Performance Lab, um, some common objections would be cost, time, fear of getting physically hurt, skeptical about results. What would you say to those people?
I would say first off, cost should be completely eliminated from any of your thought processes, and a couple of reasons. If you get to a point where you're not comfortable enough to be able to do your job, then you're not earning. There's a problem. And if you're, over 50 and you're still working, and most people are, that's not an option. And you've got to be able to show up to work and do your thing and not, focus on how poorly you feel that day. The other part of cost is when I had that report done and talked to the orthopedist about those two surgeries I mentioned, even on Medicare with my copay and what have you, was going to exceed $30,000. These were going to be almost
That's
$800
huge.
worth of
Yeah.
operations. So if I took $30,000 and I paid you $1,000 a month, I guess I get to be with you for 2.5 years. How much good can we do in 2.5 years? So to me,
Huge.
that wasn't even negotiable. And when you're in pain, it's funny how cost goes out the window. You just want to feel better. The other part is fear, fear that we're going to hurt ourselves, which I mentioned earlier. And a lot of people do get hurt because they don't run correctly, they don't lift correctly, they do Pilates, in a cavalier manner. And our bodies aren't sewn together the way they were when we were younger. They just aren't. So we pull this and hurt that and do this. I have a friend who's got 2 Achilles tendon pulls right now, basically can't walk.
Mm.
Just really very poorly deciding to run a marathon without understanding the training necessary to get to
Yep.
that.
That's huge.
So that guy is not at his desk at work. He's at home trying to heal with
Yeah.
2 surgeries that cost him $60,000. This stuff can be prevented right along the way if you have a professional, just like anything else. Do you self-diagnose or do you go to a doctor? Do you do your own taxes and hope that you did them correctly? My wife is a psychologist. Do you heal yourself
I
instead of
love that.
professional? No, you go to somebody who understands this, who looks at you in the face and said, two things are going to happen. You're going to work really hard and get healed, and I'm going to make sure you don't get hurt. So you have trust, you have security, you have somebody who actually, if I can't say this, gives a damn about you enough to actually design something and customize it for you so that it works for you. Nothing cookie cutting. If you want to just go in and lift some weights, then go to 24-hour EOS or one of those other places and try not to hurt yourself.
I love it.
Last thing is a memory. I was in a gym many years ago, and a guy hyperextended and dislocated his shoulder. I was like in my 20s. I'd never seen that. His shoulder was literally drooped down and like hang. And I and another guy dragged him into a car and took him to an ER. This guy was the typical, I hate to use the word meathead, but the typical, weightlifter guy, tough guy, whatever. He was in agony. He was literally wailing all down Coast Highway until we could get him to this hospital. And I thought to myself, I don't know what I'm doing, and he does know what he's doing, and he got hurt. So it always stayed with me that I need some direction. I need a professional. Well, I got one. I'm staring at him, and I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Very grateful in many, many ways.
Thank you. And I have one last question for you. If you had to describe in one sentence what working with me has meant for your life, what would you say?
A life-changing adventure into health that I thought was beyond me, into a mental outlook about my physicality that I thought was going to be a challenge, and a relationship with a empathetic, intelligent, charismatic individual that I'm blessed to meet.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I feel the same about you. I'm so grateful that you gave me opportunity to work with you, and I certainly look forward to every session you come in, and what we can do next, and where we can take you to the next level.
Give me
So
one day of recovery and I'll be back.
so I wanted to, thank you for taking your time to talk to me and share your story with future clients. And I look forward to seeing you next time.
Absolutely. I'll leave with this. If anybody wants to hear anything more about my experience, Braun will put you in touch with me, and I'm happy to talk to you, because I wish I had a video of how I looked and felt before this started, but I can definitely articulate that. Anyhow, thanks for the opportunity. Hope it helps.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Be well.